Everyone, Mr. Silent Smasher back with another Crossout build tutorial video. Today's a bit of a special one. I got this request a while now, so apologies for the wait to the guy who requested it. But in today's video, I'm going to be rebuilding one of the vehicles from the scrap heaps. And if you bear with me, I can show you exactly what I mean, because I have some in my garage. I've decided that I'm going to be building the pickup from this scrap pile, as it's the easiest thing to recreate. There it is in all of its old, crushed, low texture quality glory. Just sat there, rotting away like the rest of them. There it is again. I was tempted to do the hot rod or the van, but I felt like those would be a bit too... The van was a bit too simple, plus it uses a illegal parts that you can't get, and that the hot rod was a little bit too complex. Although, a little fact about this hot rod, there is a complete version scattered around the Awakening map. Also, just so everyone doesn't yell at me in the comments, yes, I'm fully aware about this buggy. I have tried building it many times in the past. Well, not many, but a few times in the past, and it is just ugly. As you can see there, it's got truck slopes and a narrow avia panel right there, like, and a borer. It's got some plain wings and obviously the old growl model right there. It's like, what were the devs doing when they made that? So in today's video, I'm going to be recreating this pickup. Although one huge thing to note is that the van side part doesn't use this model anymore. It hasn't done for years now. I remember when it did, it was pretty nice. And also that this build will use Thug, as Huntsman also didn't exist back then.
I don't know what that is, but there's a lot of buzz on the web about it.
The web, you say? Thought the web died with the old world. So, just to give a little bit more insight before I actually start building, I will be using Thug, though Huntsman or Guerrilla can be used if you don't have Thug. The top is a large avia panel, and this slope part is a Lunatics piece, which I've forgotten the name of, as well as having a catch bumper on the rear. And even though this build has widened wheels on the actual scrap thing, I will be narrowing them just to give it a bit more stock feel. And if I remember correctly, there is somewhere where this exact build has a small plow on the front, like just on the front of the cab, but I have no idea where that is, so I will just be building it as it is, like I've just shown you. So let me go ahead and clear my garage space and start with the frames. Starting off with the rear, you're going to get a 1x4 and just place that like so.
Why is everything in the wasteland attached only by welding? Just curious.
I don't know. And then you get a 2x5 and place that in front, central on the 1x4. We're also getting a 2x4 and placing that in front of your 2x5. Now that I think about it, that's way too short. Instead of a 2x4, you're going to get a 2x7. Just to play it safe, I might swap that for a 2x6 later down the line. So your frames should look like this, a small T shape. Then you're going to get your Thug and place that so there is 6 pins of space behind it. And see, I was exactly right with the 2x7 there. And your Thug will be needing to be overhanging the front of the frames by 2 pins as well. Starting with the actual truck part, gonna go down to the engineer's pieces and get the regular fenders, place those on either side, and also getting a van side and placing it on the rear. Creating a pickup. Of course this isn't a pickup, this is some other kind of truck. So we're gonna get our van sides again, place those on top of the fenders touching against the thug, with the flat sides facing inwards to match how the old models for the van side looked back then. And also getting a dipper, which is that lunatic's sloped part that we saw a moment ago. And before I place the large avia panel on top, I'm going to get my Maxwell and just place that inside like so. Can I fit a car jack? No, I can't fit a car jack, unfortunately. Just going to place a Maxwell inside on top of the frame. Got to make sure it's not to either of the sides, as you won't be able to place the wheels on. And then I'm just going to cover it with a large avia panel. For the bumper, and the only bumper, is going to be the catch. And then finally for the wheels, I'm going to just simply use the starter wheels, because they are quite nice looking. Some of you may say, oh, use the buggy wheels. Why did you use the buggy wheels on your armoured truck? And the reason why I didn't do them on that build, because I felt like the small wheels hubcap looked more armoured, and I feel like the tyres on the buggy wheels are too wide for this build. So as it is, this truck is now as it is on the scrap heaps, 1-to-1 recreation, minus, you know, the Maxwell, which I put in simply because, you know, it's fairly mandatory if you're just hanging around so you can see other players. But I feel like making this truck look more complete, you know, more fresh from the factory, or maybe a little bit more, you know, less straight out of a scrap pile. So I'm going to start with the rear, placing some, getting the tail lights. Where are they? There they are. And I'm going to place them so the indicators are facing downwards, as well as getting a X09 license plate and placing that just on the rear of the van side. For the front, I'm going to get the 001 license plate and just place that central right there. Underneath that, if I can, I'm going to get the Marcy poster, and no, I can't place it there, never mind. Instead I'm going to get a narrow avia slope, or just a regular avia slope, not the narrow one. I'm just going to place that in front of the 2x7 frame so it lines up with the front of the thug cap, just like so. For the undersides, I'm going to be getting the fuselage vaults, right side on the right. So there is.
Whenever I watch you build, my database keeps suggesting articles on Lego and Soviet construction sets.
Right side on the right, so there is enough. I'm placing so there's enough space behind it and in front of the fender to have an avia narrow slope, like so. And then obviously left on the left side, just like that. For the roof, I'm going to add some headlight sets. I'm going to put the decorative grille on first, just like that. Maybe one pin behind. No, I'm going to put it like that, just on the cab itself. Oh, I went down way too far. And I'm just going to place the headlight set as far forwards on top of the cab's roof in front of the decorative grille like so. Then I'm going to get some old... Oh, I'm not going to get the old skis, they're too big. Never mind. I'm going to get the Klondike and just place that to the side like so. And I'm going to get a baby on board sign and place that on the rear next to the license plate. I feel like adding some wheel arches, so I'm just going to add the regular toppers. I was going to add regular toppers because the regular fender extenders stick out on the front a bit, but I'm actually changing my mind. Fender extenders it is. This is keeping this build fairly cheap after all. You can use any sign you want to on the back, you don't have to use the baby on board. But personally, that is what I'd like to be using. And see what I mean? This is what I meant when I said the fender extenders stick forwards a bit. But first I'm going to quickly add the wing mirrors. I'm going to use the rover mirrors on each side of the cab, just like that. I'm also going to add a quick fishing rod to the roof next to the Klondike in the middle to the rear of the box. And since there's no weld points up to the sides, I'm just going to be adding twin lamps just like that. This is what it will look like when the headlights are turned on.
Yes, I see you too.
But alternatively, you could have the license plate lower, the catch bumper on the front, and a Pioneer grille over the headlights like so. So this means there will be no functionable headlights on the front. And you know what? I'm actually liking that difference in design, so I'm going to keep it like that. Now I'd be saying this build is complete. I'm actually going to move the fishing rods to either sides of the rear onto the fenders behind the van sides on the, well, sides. And then also putting a digger on the left side, which there is currently one available in this week's weekly event. So go get that, guys, if you haven't already. I know I still need to do it myself. Now, I'd say the construction is complete. You could even fill in this small gap with some holograms, like remaining alive, just on the bottom there, which says Survivor, and then Wings of Hope on top. I'd say that looks quite nice. Quite fitting for a nice hardy truck like this. Now that the actual build is 100% complete, we can begin painting. I'm going to keep it mostly in the same default colors that it has. So I'm going to get the material rust and paint the fuselage vaults and narrow avia slopes on the underside, as well as the avia slope on the front. And for the avia panel on the roof, just going to quickly test what Tenacious Man looks like, and I'd say that looks quite nice. I'm also going to use Tenacious Man on the fishing rods, and unfortunately the devs made it so you cannot paint the bars on Lunatic's parts, so there'll be an annoying red permanently there. But I'm also going to paint that in Tenacious Man too, just so the grey isn't too different. And for the decorative grille, I'm going to use aircraft covering. think that's done. Very, very simple. Minus the cab, a very, very, very cheap build. Then again, you could also use Guriella, which is the starter cab, or Huntsman, just as well. Just to demonstrate what those look like, I'm going to get Huntsman, just replace that.
This cabin would make a fantastic coffin.
Exactly, my thoughts exactly. Though you would need to paint the Huntsman or Guriella, either in Tenacious Man or a similar paint, so it could match the shade of the regular Engineer's parts. And here is what Guriella looks like. Here's the, I guess, before and after of Guriella compared to Huntsman. It's not much difference between the two, though Huntsman has a nice snorkel, and very slightly different paneling over the windshield, as well as flaps on the side windows, and an unpaintable roof, so keep that in mind. Although it is a bit faster than Guriella. But I'm going to stick to Thug because, again, it's more accurate to the reference material and it's fully paintable. Even though I'm not actually painting it in today's build. And I'd say that's it for today's video, guys. I'm not going to do any stickering because it doesn't really need stickers. Though you could add some of your own to personalize it. Maybe add a little bit of scratches or graffiti, maybe some extra bullet holes on the rear of the build. Because as you can see, Thug has quite a lot of them. Shout out to DUBBY for continuing to partner with me. They've got some yummy energy drinks that won't give you any energy crashes like a sugar crash, and they won't make you jittery. Like if you chug a few other energy drinks, you know, your hands get jittery or your body gets jittery. DUBBY's drinks won't be doing that. So make sure to use my affiliate link down in the description, or use my proto code PROTOBEE, which is PROTOBEE, to save 10% off your order and to help out my channel so I could continue doing videos such as these, even though today's build is relatively cheap. And even if you don't want to be handing out your money to random YouTuber sponsors, if you still wanted to support me, liking and subscribing makes my day. And it's completely free, so you can undo it at any time you wanted with no charge whatsoever. And if you didn't like the video, feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear some feedback. Always looking to improve my videos. So thank you to everyone who's already done that already. And if you do plan on doing it, thanks in advance. Well, that's going to be it for today's video. Goodbye!